Adandakwa. Otofe. Ụmụ Ndokwa ekene mụnụ Ajeni Otofeni Osamalo onye na-efe ekene. By the way, I am Oforchi Benjamin Atagana. I am an indigene of Obiaroku, the headquarters of Kwale government area. I have with me our dear sister, our mother, an erudite scholar. However, I will take a breather to allow her do the introduction herself. So, our dear Prof, over to you.
Okay, thank you, my dear brother Benjamin. My name is Abigail Ogwuezzy Ndesika. I'm a professor of mass communication. I am from Ndokwa West local government area. Specifically, I'm from Immobility.
Unanowo Ifokune. So you have heard her. She is not a stranger. She is bona fide Ukwuani indigene, meaning that she has the what we call local standard to speak on issues that affect our people, the Ukwuani people. Prof, thank you so much for this privilege once again.
Thank you.
We, the Ukwuani people, we have been bedeviled with identity crisis. There is no doubt about it, because a lot of persons are of the opinion that the Ukwuani people migrated from Benin. Some say, oh, Igala, some say, but the predominant opinion is that Ukwuani were Igbo, that Ukwuani people are Igbo. Against that backdrop, being a scholar, a linguist, I want to ask you, what is your view as far as the origin of the Ukwuani people is concerned? Thank you, Prof.
Well, there are issues about origin of a people. You know, everybody who documented our origin documented it based on their perspective. Some what they were told, some true oral history. And so people document it without acknowledging sources. So if you say that your origin is from wherever, you should give us the authoritative sources that said that.
Very well.
When you migrated, how you migrated. So there are different accounts. But my issue about this entire debate on the identity of the Delta North Senatorial District people, which Ukwuani is part of, is I look at the political history of Delta states and the Anioma people. When we had Western Nigeria, we were referred to as Western Igbo.
Western Igbos.
Midwest.
Yeah. Midwestern Igbo, yeah.
Bendel Igbo. Presently, in Delta State, 5 ethnic groups were gazetted.
Sure.
Igbo, Ichekiri, Urobo, Isoko, and Ijaws. So, what accounts, the accounts that we have had from the 60s till now, nobody had ever challenged,
disputed,
yes,
that the Igbo identity.
Yes. So it means that all the documentation, official documentations we have had, they're all wrong. But even if those things are, that we're not going to belabor the history on issues of migration, where you migrated from, in terms of linguistic and cultural affinities, we are more of Southeast. And I say that with a high sense of
we are more of, a moment, Prof, because Southeast is a contemporary
classification.
Yeah,
they're just geographical
yes.
classifications.
So we are more, are you saying that we are more Igbo?
Yes. And I say it with a high sense of responsibility.
Okay.
My brother. A few things. I think I've granted an interview before, and I did talk about the genetically related languages.
Yes.
Now, you also talk about culture with Taitura.
Very well.
You talk about our festivals, food.
Our palukus.
Yes, and the traditional leadership structure that we have. So the Adas, the Opalukus, the different age grades that we have, they are all in the East. So I think that for me, this debate is more of a political issue than reality, because I gave you the history that when
Prof,
you look
if
at
I
our
may
political
say,
history.
I'm sorry, Prof, for butting in, because you just mentioned the cultural
And
similarity,
linguistic affinity, yes.
cultural similarity, and you mentioned about the dressing of our women, the dressing of our men, and all that. But for me, there is another class that identifies us very well, because our Okmaloku system, our Ezes, because our kinship system, monarchy system, because monarchy, to be fair to somebody like me who have been around for some time, the monarchy has not always been with us as the Ukwuani people. In fact, at a point in the history of the Ukwuani people, it was only the Obi of Abo that was the only traditional ruler in terms of the monarchical structure. What we have always had has been gerontocratic. Gerontocracy, the oldest person who we call the Okpaluku.
Yes.
Okpaluku Ndiche.
Yes.
These are persons that constitute traditional authority in an average Okwuani. It's our kinship system. And from what you said, I am kind of flashing back how our Okmalukus dress, how our Ndiche they dress. Because this cap that the Okmaluku wear, no Okmaluku, for example, the Beninese, which I am very familiar. By the way, I have lived in Benin for about 20 years or thereabout. The Beninese, they do not dress the way the Ukwuani man dress. The Ukwuani dress is only similar to the Igbo, typical Igbo.
It's iconic to the Igbo system.
Yes, so if you go to Benin, for example, the Benin chiefs are identified by what the Beninese call Igwapata. There's a way they cut their hair.
Yes.
Called Igwapata. The Beninese call it Igwapata. No chief, no traditional ruler in Ukwuani wears that hairstyle. And the Omonoba Nedo of the Benin Kingdom does not dress in the way our traditional rulers dress. The Indigenes in Benin Kingdom do not dress the way our Okmalukus dress. So I want you to look at it, because you have mentioned all of that. Is why I am bringing up this. Does that is that an indicator? Is that also an indicator of where we are coming from as Igbo people?
Well, I wouldn't want to talk about the divergence. I go from the perspective of the similarities. Our kinship system, we don't have monarchical system.
Yes.
If not, once a royal highness leaves as a father, the child becomes, or it comes from that family.
Yes.
You rightly pointed out is gerontocracy that rules in our communities,
yes,
where the oldest becomes the head of the village or the community. So, and costume, I use that expression, our costume is the same with the Igbos. The two wrapper are women tie, the top and wrapper, the top and trouser, it's the same with the Igbos. So I see more cultural affinity with the Igbo. I'm a scholar, so that's the way we do analysis. I see more cultural affinity with the Igbos. Then, like I did say, in terms of language, the root words in our languages are the same. What the only thing you see is morphological inflections. Those are the variations that you have. And that those things are markers, like tense marking, aspect marking, gender marking, prefixes and suffixes that talks about plural or singular. You see more of gender neutral amongst the Igbos and the Delta North. When you say or obiaka, meaning he or she is coming. You can only identify or interpret the identity, whether it's a he or she, based on the physical person that you see.
Yes.
And so those tone markings for tone markings are the issues. Those are just, but the root words are the same, and that's why language experts have told us that all these languages are genetically related and are classified as the Igboid group. So, and I maintain that if we don't have affinity with the Igbos, why have we been documented
as Igbos?
As Igbos
from beginning, from ab initio.
Yes, ab initio, whether Western Nigeria, Midwest, Bendel, and now Delta. So there are questions that need to be answered.
Interestingly, because you said this earlier on, that from beginning, when the colonial masters began to classify from the regional system and all that, there has never been any Ukwuani group or think tank who
came out to challenge,
came out to say, no, we are not Igbos.
Yes.
So the issue of we are not Igbos is a contemporary thing based on the political exigencies. For me, I want to point this out because the so-called Igbo is an endonym. Is an endonym to which we, the Ukwuani, we also use it to describe ourselves. Ndigbo, Ndenugbo, Ndigbo. And over time, because of the evolution, it has been moved from Ndigbo to Igbo.
Absolutely. It's to make for ease of pronunciation. You see, if you look at that word, Kwale, my late father, when I was doing my long essay as an undergraduate, I asked him to tell me the meaning of Kwale. I'm a very inquisitive person. Tell me the meaning of Kwale. My father told me. You can see that's oral history now.
Yeah.
Though I documented it when I was writing my long essay as an undergraduate.
Okay.
That Kwale, it's the pronunciation the colonial masters could make out of Ukwuani.
Out of Ukwuani.
And you know, as a linguist, I began to study it. English is a consonant cluster language.
Sure. Very well.
So we are open syllable, vowel, consonant and vowel. So you have Okwuani. U is a vowel.
Yeah.
The K is the consonant.
Yeah.
U, another vowel. A, vowel. Is only N. So that is what they could make out of it. And that's why they call it Kwale. And that Kwale has been used for documentation from the colonial era. And so we came, our generation, not the generation of our parents, it's been adopted in all official documentation. So nobody has, we're not changing it. But we know that the meaning of that thing is Ukwuani.
Yes.
We know that the meaning of that thing is Ukwuani. So I also think that our language is same with the Igbos. Like I did say earlier, all the variations you see, they are mere morphological inflections. See, my parents come from two different communities from Ndokwa West local government. My mom from a different community, my dad from a different community. So I largely spent time with my grandmother growing up, my maternal grandma. So I grew up in my maternal community.
Yes.
So when I go to my father's community and I speak Ukwuani, they will say I'm speaking the Ukwuani of that other community.
It is very common.
So you have dialect, you have idiolects. Idiolect is the speech habit of an individual. The dialect is how a particular community speak. But by and large, the morphological inflections across the Ukwuani dialects, they are the same. And the classification has been done. And we have been using this. We have been using this for our documentation as Igbos. So I think that the current narrative of we are not Igbos is largely driven by political interest.
Sure.
And so what I want to say at this point is you should not throw away the baby and the bathwater.
Very well.
Our political elites, our traditional leaders should come together. The agitation for the creation of an Yoruba state is not new.
Very well.
It's been on before I was born.
Very well.
And so the opportunity has come. Now that we have the opportunities, they should close ranks. All of us should close ranks and seize the moment. Because state creation brings development closer to the people. So it's a more strategic dimension to enhance equitable and inclusive development.
Very well.
And so we should be looking in that direction. We should all be looking at the bigger picture. We shouldn't be pushing self-interest above collective interest. So that would be my suggestion. So we're just belaboring the issue by saying, oh, Okwuani is not Igbo, and Nyocha is this one, the other one. The documentation has been clear over the years, over the decades. So I think that we should be wise. I want to use that expression. And we should bury our differences and come together. I think that is the way to go. And we're just very close to the finishing line. So this thing has been on for decades. The opportunity has come. It's a win-win situation. Nobody's losing anything. It was from Midwest. They carved out Bendel State. It was from Bendel. We had Edo Delta. So there's nothing wrong in having Delta and Anioma states. All we're looking at is progress. We're looking at development. Yes. So I think that is the way to go. Our political elites, our duty bearers, both traditional, religious, and political, economic elites, we should all come together. We should see the bigger picture.
Sure.
And think of moving forward so that we can achieve the Anioma state creation dream. That would be my submission.
Thank you, dear Prof. In addition to what Prof has said, because Prof mentioned dialectical variations as far as the Igbo linguistics is concerned. For me, as somebody who also has knowledge of linguistics and the Igbo linguistic for that matter, through years of research, I have discovered that the Igbo language as it were is not a uniform dialect.
Yes.
Each community has its peculiar dialect. Each group has its peculiar dialect. For example, the Isu dialect is at variance with the Arochukwu dialect. The same is also with the Nsukka dialect. The same also with the Enugu dialect. Of course, our Afikpo people, the same variations. Okay, so when we talk about the language, when you come down to Anioma, because we have always been classified as Igbo, forget about the political agitation. It didn't start today. In Anioma, you do not need an Ukwuani man. I am an Ukwuani man. Our dear professor is an Ukwuani woman. Prof does not need, neither do I need an interpreter to interpret to me what an Ika person is saying. Ditto, the Ika person does not need an interpreter to hear or to understand what the Ukwuani man is saying. It goes on from Ukwuani to Ika up to Enuani to Obosi, crossing to interland eastern geopolitical zone, the eastern region.